What's going on, guys? Time for another YouTube recap. Let's get into it. Pretty impressive day to the downside. A lot of slips, a lot of nonsense. Let's get into it. So we had a long scalp at the open here, going through some Twitter calls here. We had called a nice long off of the 5-minute 666. And this was near 7:30 a.m. Central, right? So can't really ever see anything on Tweety here on the big monitors, but we got in on this purple moving average here, consolidation, just chopping around in this coil, coming back up to algo target. 20,496.50 was target. 100 EMA was running 10 up. So we had an average of 20,467, and we had a pretty massive upside potential there for that trade. Moving into the PNL, we skyrocketed up, covered in two equal highs like we always do. We do this live on stream as well every morning. Then we got a little bit of the W play, right? So near that 7:30 time, we did have this little breakup, nice little, ended up being a $4,400 win. And we came back down backwards a little bit. We're going to get into that as well. So the next call, this is an interesting one here. This was that 7:30 a.m. reversal candle, which was a really interesting order. We haven't figured out quite yet exactly what the cause this one is. Not an algo candle, but we picked a zone right here, 493.51. And I wanted to launch up to 494.27. As you can see there, I posted this on Twitter for target 1. And then if we broke over that, we generally look for target 2, right? So we only hit 494 and some change on the pop open, right? And that was the only trade that we had there, the 7:30. Now, my last little bit of information here that I gave out at the open into my premium group on Discord is if we lose the 10 SMA daily, it's game over, okay? So big calls there for the long QQQ. We called for 491 short. And that was over 6 hours ago when we posted this. That was very, very early. So let's get into it. So we have two SPYs, first order business. Gotta get the keys up. And let's move into it. So that first call, 5-day, 5-minute here, get in, was green zone upside. Is that the default chart? Nope. Oh, tester. We lost her. I might have deleted that one. Wasn't on the YouTube. That's fine. We'll do it again. So I fibbed out this little awkward not algo candle. This is an awkward print one, and we use this 1618 along with the green zone was made right here. I don't know where it went, but we'll just redraw it. We have the 10 SMA daily. That was a really big over under point in the dashed blue right here. This again is the daily moving average hard coded into the 5-minute chart in case you're confused, right over 493. So the 10 SMA daily reacted there, and as we said, we wanted to go long right around 493.20 and up to target 1 of 494.26. Well, that was the opening range scalp, and it happened so fast that we couldn't even click into it. The algos are being brutal today. So we opened up where we needed to, little blip, slammed right into target 1 and did not progress to target 2, which, okay, no big deal. We're in the bottom channel of the RSI. We're in the bottom MAC crossing. So we're all in bearish territory here. We were just looking for the pop to drop, right? So it wasn't like we were looking for the full long all the way back up again, and we'll show you why on the daily chart. So we did hit that target one. It was really fast to call. Let's get into why we swapped under the 10. So on X, we had released if we lose the 10 SMA daily, it's game over. And I'll go over a couple instances on why we seen that coming. So the 10 SMA daily was the huge over under point right here as we discussed, broke, back test, and game over, right? So let's take a peek at the daily chart. If we get anything to load here. Boom. So I run a system off moving averages called loops, right? And when price action loops, we have stuff that looks like this. We come up to a high. This is the 10 SMA daily, obviously in the blue. We have a gap, push, comes up. Price action cuts through the 10 SMA, loops back above it, and runs. Okay, so there's certain algo protocols in my system that allow this to happen at certain times. I don't get into the deep darkness of exactly how that works because that's all for my premium members. But this one, we knew we had a much higher chance to go washing back down. But this is what a 10 SMA loop back here looks like. It's run highs, comes back down, loops under, squeezes to fresh high, and then a lot of the times we'll dump after that. And that's why we were ready for that. Let's take a peek at the best market in the world, the S&P 500. And it shows you another very consistent pattern, okay? So we're at the all-time high come down here. We've been working with the October 15th candle, this big red guy right here for the Fibonacci sequence. And let's get into why we were getting short. Now, Fibonacci sequences like to close out in certain time frames. So what do we mean by that? The high-low range, 485 just about, 478 and a half. That's your high-low range for your Fibonacci. Now, when something fills the whole candle. So if this is the box that we're worried about on fibs, we start day one right here. Day two had the gap up. This was the guaranteed short day we played. And then when this came back down, we had to stay under 484.89 because we filled up the candle. And what that means is this Fibonacci candle had 1 and 2 days, okay? And those 2 days, it ran up to the top of the fib. 484.89, okay? And that means this fib is closed, okay? And I treat them kind of like gaps because there's a price action magnet that comes up, fills that. And a lot of the time, if it cannot mount the 100 and progress to the 1618 in Fibonacci, we will fail. Now, interestingly enough, day one after the October 15th candle, obviously right here, 16th, notice on the bottom there where we left an open gap in price action, okay? So there was a high percent chance to come back down to 578.57. We just had to time it correctly, and our confirmation protocol gave us 10 SMA over under for certain algo loops. Now let's take a peek at the structure here. Lower high from the all-time high. Here's your all-time high. That was the guaranteed sell day. This was lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low. Obviously a great 3-day trend for putting in some weakness stacking up, right? And again, you didn't really see that on Qs, as SPY is the leading market, always the better trader. Now, RSI, you can see, was tipping point. We did mention this in our last video, lower high, and the cross. You could see some diminishing histograms here on the daily MACD. So as we got into this 10 SMA loss, look at SPY there, and look at the Fibonacci and 578.57 for that close on this giant red October 15 candle. Was a very nice move. Speaking of which, let's get into why 491 was called for us short on QQQ. Same exact system applies for Fibonacci, but we used an algorithm from Friday's pre-market. So again, if you watch our prior videos, we talked a lot about this in last week. This is an algo candle. We have a high-low range, again, drawing from the fib box here on Friday. I'm going to make this fuchsia look at purple so it's easier to see for me. And then we come over to the no tag. So let's look at the couple days after this algo was created. So this algo was created right here, 1018 pre-market, okay? We did the high-low range for the fib box. And whenever we hold the golden pocket, we push to the 1618 and then we reverse. Now, it was a very choppy, ugly week. It was not giving us any kind of good trade days. The VIX had mass divergence. There's a lot of little issues there, but it still played out in a choppy manner for this algo. Now, let's take a peek. First day after the algo, this is day one. Notice that we did not come down and fill 490.88. This is again, just as we explained on the daily chart, price action, left open gap on that algorithm pre. Swap to the next day, 2, okay? Here's day 2. Let's look at price action again. Held the golden pocket right at the open, pushed, confirmation of strength on the 10 SMA daily, okay? So there's a beautiful confirmation of 10 there. Pushes back up, finally hits the 1618. So if this is our fib box from Friday's pre-market, anything over the 100 fib has a chance to go to the 1618, as we just explained. After that's hit, 2 things happen. It bounces the 100 and goes to 618, or it fails the 100 and fills up the bottom to 490.88. That is the only sequence that can possibly happen. So what does that mean for us? That means we develop an over-under level. Let's delete this so it's not as confusing. Over-under means, obviously, it's our job to determine direction from a interesting price level. 494.23 is that interesting price level. That is the top of the fib. And again, when something breaks out of the fib box range, goes to the 1618 like we did yesterday, we have a great psychological scam on the market. We talk a lot about algorithms and how they love fresh low, fresh high stops and reversals. Well, look at this. What better thing to do for the market makers and algos is to scam here, no fill on the fib, push up to a higher high, trap all the novice traders that would buy into a breakout here and just, they don't pay attention to indicators, daily, anything else. They think it's just going to go up because it had this interesting squeeze at the end of the day. And I was on my last YouTube video going, we're going to go down before up. And I'll link that in the description. I'll give you the play-by-play. But we squeezed up a little bit higher, but again, that's fine. We came into a higher high and then it dumps, right? But this was all accordance to the 10 SMA daily. So our over-under level becomes the 100 fib because the fib box pushed up to the 1618 and then it failed underneath. Now look at the open here. The algorithms were so tight and perfect that to the penny there, it didn't allow it to get over the 100 fib, okay? So we couldn't get over the 100 fib at all. We got trapped inside the fib box from Friday's pre-market last week, okay? I'm just trying to be very, very clear here. And as we are trapped into this fib box through the 100 and the 0, that means we have a chance to come down and fill the price action 491. And that's why we called that short. Now, mind you, that short, and I told my group we're waiting for a pushback down. And I said we're at yesterday's lows. And I said this is going to guarantee bounce here. We're going to come back up. We got to find the lower high to go down. I wanted to get into this fib box range for a golden pocket if we could, or at least back test it, but it is not an algo candle. This is an awkward fill candle. So this shied, right, the bottom of this candle. So technically, this is a no hit. So if we take this candle here, like so, pointed to the downside, I look for retraces, okay? Same rules apply. Let's delete Friday's fib and talk about the same thing in Fibonacci's for the third time in this video, but I want to show you the backwards part, okay? Fib box. When something leaves the range outside, right? Low or high does not matter. We go to the 1618, 2618, and have a retrace capable. So we popped into the 1618, boom, retrace capable to the 100. That is your over under in a general trade setup for us, right? Third time we're covering this, just a little different looking. Hits the 1618, shatters down to the 2618. And after that's hit, it generally comes up to the next step, which is the 1618, and it has a potential for the 100 again. But again, if we zoom in, this algo is not an algo, and we missed it by a smidge right there at 494.26, and we missed it on the lower high. So we assumed we were coming down for that weakness play under the 10 SMA. And like we said on X, if we lose that 10 SMA right here, dash big old blue line of the daily, it's game over. So that algo right there from Friday told us we were coming down to 491, and we got some bonus round down even lower than that. So let's take a peek at the daily chart here and see what's next. We got jobs coming up tomorrow with a bunch of data, and we have a really good opportunity to see at least a move follow through, right? What I mean by that is if this is the top, big things come in threes in the market. It loves threes. Low off the 200s, first push. Higher low, second push. Higher high, higher low, third push. Push one, push two, push three. You'll hear me talk about threes all the time in the market. We do three different recap videos 2 days ago that talk about the big threes a lot. Check them out. So as we come into a big three, now we have chance for reversal. I said chance. We're still on higher low, higher high trend. We still got it, but our indicators are flashing warning signs in the near term here saying, hey, RSI is hitting lows with lower high. If we break under that 50, we could come back down. And now the MACD could come back down as well. And generally speaking, October, November, coming from September shifting in is generally bearish. It's more often than not to the downside. Now, with that being said, we're going to go to SPY real fast here as well. And I do want to show you target. SPY is always the better trader. Always pay attention to this over Qs. As we come into this, we have a shy. And you hear me talk about shies a lot. And that's when something comes very, 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 very close to that fib out of here. Okay, we'll just delete it. We come very close to something, never hit that something, and then it ranges out. This is a shy at the 100 EMA. So this big green guy right here, this is the 100 EMA. Notice these are 200 SMAs and EMAs right here, okay? The dash larger one is SMA, the smaller dash is the EMA. What did the SPY do when it got close to the 200s? Shy. Broke back over the 100 in green. What did it do? Shy. Broke back over, looped the 10, and now we're finding direction. Now we do have some hints. Again, we are still in higher low, higher high territory. We're not calling for a full-on dump, but this is the potential trade setup you have coming from the big three that we just talked about. Again, lower high RSI, lower low, breaking down MACD on that cross, weak histogram. If we get that continuation, great. We could see it coming. If we stay under the 10 SMA daily, coming back down, we have a nice target coming into November if we keep some bearish narrative and we start the downtrend, right? I would say something like a low break in this consolidation, right? Breaks past that, creates new lows into 568 and lower or so, and pushes back up. And then we would target that 100 EMA at 533.95 if we get that short continuation, okay? So check back for some of these recaps. I'm going to go over a bunch of this stuff as we close the week. We'll have a couple weekend videos, so give us a chance. Subscribe if you want to trade with us. Now, we do this live every single morning. We stream it in our private Zoom meetings. We got a Discord. Links in the description if you want. If you want to support the channel in a different way, I do trade with Apex Funded Trader and Top Step. The links are in the description. You want to give a shout out to us using TG33 as a code at Apex. They are fantastic, changing lots of rules, and I'm coming out with a video for them this weekend as well. Thanks for tuning in on this recap. We'll see you on the next.